always good to see stoner/doom metal bringing new blood into the scene. In this case, the Italians Aganoor bring a host of references and influences that give their sound an impressive dynamism, especially in the way that psychedelia, albeit very slightly, adds even more value to the inherent natural hypnotism. A new band with the sound and caliber of veterans. It's definitely worth keeping an eye on what they're up to and listening to Doomerism until new music comes out. This is the debut album from the Germans Ultrablut, who bring us vitaminized punk rock and furious hardcore, but also high doses of fun and a certain surf/garage rock feel from the 60s. This probably won't make the slightest sense after listening to this furious jaw, but it's what stuck in our minds after riding this roller coaster several times. Caustic and corrosive, it's just what we need to make us face up to an increasingly sick world. Another debut in the doom metal scene, this time from Germany's Obsidian Scapes. Monolithic and hypnotic weight are two of the most important elements of doom metal which, depending on how they are used, distinguish between near perfection and pure boredom. In the case of Obsidian Scapes, the use of intelligent dynamics, in other words, without distorting the meaning of the style itself, brings us closer to the first option. The gaze into the abyss and hopelessness is tinged with an iconic beauty that, despite dragging us down, leaves us completely disarmed. A fantastic debut. The return of Inglorious couldn't be stronger. V is just another confirmation of how the world's hard rock scene is becoming more and more solid. An album that shows that the style is capable of reinventing itself without losing sight of its origins. Wait, great riffs, a charismatic voice, great solos, and an undeniable talent for making memorable, easy-to-sing choruses. Something that happens, without exception, in all the songs on this great album. One of the highlights of the style in 2025. The second album by the Germans Cromlech comes in handy for those who have been thirsting for epic black metal. A thirst that may not be quenched because of owls and eels is like an abyss, a black hole that expands into the void of our being. But it's this contradiction that keeps us coming back to it again and again. An album for fans of epic black metal who appreciate a certain nostalgic taste, long compositions, ambiences that transport us through time and space, and that tremolo-picked heaviness and raspy vocals that stick in your memory. Byzantine are one of the few examples of how metal from the USA is not lost at all. They've had a long career, and this seventh album is the crowning achievement of all their perseverance, but also of the refinement of all their talent. Rather than riding the modern metal bandwagon just for the sake of it, Byzantine show that they have their feet planted in the current times, but also that their horizons are broad enough for their music to sound dynamic and bold enough to draw from other sources. The result? A multifaceted and therefore essential album. It's impressive to see how phase transition have evolved in such a short space of time. Steady, solid steps that have led them to this astonishing debut album. In just 5 songs, we are completely captured by the progressive and multifaceted metal of this young Portuguese band. They have an innate talent for writing memorable songs where heaviness, melody, and virtuosity come together for something very special. And Sophia's voice and violin also stand out, taking the quality of these songs to an even higher level. Not the Portuguese surprise of 2025, but undoubtedly a confirmation. brilliant surprise this work by Masseti was. Yes, as you may have guessed, the name of the project or band is the surname of the musician Tiago Masseti, a Brazilian musician currently based in New York who has made his debut in his own right with an album that is perfect from start to finish. Virtuosity that is used in the service of the songs and also demonstrates Masseti's talent, since all the instruments are in his charge as well as the vocals, and what an excellent voice he has. All in all, an album that is among the most addictive things we've heard this year. The Masters are back. Grog are one of Portugal's most mythical extreme bands and one of the pioneers of death/grind in Portugal. Expectations were high for this comeback. After all, it's been 8 years since ablutionary rituals, and those same expectations were not disappointed. With their usual violent power, they managed to further refine their destructive potential in just over 30 minutes of brutality. And in addition to this refinement, they managed to sound simultaneously more classic than ever, sounding as essential today as they did in the 90s. A powerful assault from one of Portugal's most powerful bands. Katatonia are one of the biggest names in heavy music. From the days of heavy death doom metal to the melancholic rock metamorphosis that gave us masterpieces that are still personal references for their fans today. A journey that can be compared to Anathema's, although in Katatonia's case, the weight of their music has not been mitigated by the atmospheric and emotional element. And that's where Nightmares as extensions of the waking state hits us like a hammer without causing pain. Because that's what we want. Thrice immediately shows what's coming, perfectly combining all the elements we love and resulting in an addictive song. A formula that is followed throughout this album, where the weight is as much emotional as it is musical. Total addiction.